Of course, I've been bullied. A lot of people in their work careers have been bullied, and we tend not to talk about it so much so that we do not look like a weakling. Is that could you please reach out and watch out for yourself and also your colleagues? And if you're in the position of creating a change, can you create an environment that everyone can try, so that we spend so much hours at work and you explain to certain people and they do not get you? They're more like, oh, so what's the problem here? I do not understand. But you know exactly how you feel, how the pain, the anger is now starting to turn into fear. I spoke up to someone, not necessarily my bully, and you need to be able to recognize the people that you can speak to. At times, your manager is the one bullying you. It's always like, oh, it's so easy to say, but honestly, considering the damage that being bullied does to you, it chips off your confidence. I've voiced out my grievances, my manager spoke to me, I spoke to this person. However, their attitude did not change. Rather, it became escalated to the point where welcome back to the channel. My name is Victoria and I am a software engineer and the founder of Souls of Women in Tech. Happy International Women's Day. This year's 2024 Women's Day is to inspire inclusion, and in order to inspire inclusion, I've thought about what could be done this year, and I've decided to look back on a new series that talks about the mental health wellness in the workplace. I'm usually the one hosting people and listening and asking the question, while the various women, amazing women in tech that I've spoken to and asked questions that responded to. However, I just wanted to do something very different. At the beginning of this year, I'm still going to speak to lots of women, but I just want to touch on some of the topics that we tend to shy away from. Maybe because it triggers something in us, or maybe because the society has designed it in a certain form. I can't tell which it is. However, today, the first of that line of series of video I'd like to talk about is bullying. I'm going to share some of my experiences when being bullied. Of course, I've been bullied. A lot of people in their work careers have been bullied, and we tend not to talk about it so much so that we do not look like a weakling or something. And disclaimer, some of the places I've been bullied at, I have literally not added them to my career journey because I see no reason why they should be on that. And there is also a dictionary definition of being bullied, whereas there is also knowing in you that something is wrong. However, I do not want anyone mistaking being bullied as you don't fit your KPIs and then the manager is asking or grounding you for certain KPIs to be met. That is a different case studies. So, what are some of the signs that you might experience when being bullied? I have experienced this before, and that is why I'm sharing my story, and probably you'll be able to relate to some of it. One of it is dreading being into work. Remember, it's Sunday and I'm thinking, oh my god, it's a Sunday already, and then you're excited for Friday again because you're about to, stay away from those that are bullying you or the system that has been designed to bully you. You start to lose your identity when you go through this. So you start to question yourself, you start to question the work you're putting out, you literally start to question even your communication. Am I saying the right things? Am I doing the right things? What exactly is going on? So as much as there's a dictionary meaning, as much as there is what people think is bullying and is very subjective, I can only speak to you as a person. I can only relate to what you're feeling and what you're sensing. And I'm saying this because very recent, a black woman, God rest her soul, spirit and body, committed suicide even when she was at the peak, very peak of her career. And this really made us really sad. I mean, it made me really sad. And for anyone with empathy out there, you would understand how painful this news was. It happened so bad that she had to end her life, and then she wrote down, certain things that could trace back to being bullied in the workplace. And I know it's very easy for people in a position of privilege to think that, it's not that serious or something, but it is very serious. Another thing I'd like to touch on is that bullying can be experienced from different strata of the organization. It could come from a junior colleague, it could come from a senior colleague, it could come from a fellow colleague, it could come from the management themselves, the senior management team members. It could come from anybody, and this is usually from a person with a higher position of power. Notice that power certainly sometimes doesn't even mean the manager. Sometimes it has to do with someone who is in a position of advantage. For example, you know that the system has created an opportunity for men to try more and for their information to be taken more seriously, and then use that to your advantage against someone else, right? Or vice versa, or the system whereby your manager likes to listen to the women, and then you know this, and then use it against the male on your team. Do you understand what I mean? So any moment you're starting to treat other people less than, and you're using systemic, I think that's the most, the painful kind of process, because it starts to feel like you're choking, right? You can't exactly explain it, and it looks more like you're being gaslighted. You explain to certain people and they do not get you. They're more like, so what's the problem here? I do not understand. But you know exactly how you feel, how the pain, the anger is now starting to turn into fear. Now you're scared of doing everything. You're second guessing everything. I want you to know that you're not alone, and do not, I repeat, do not hesitate to reach out for help. What can you do if you are being bullied? In the past, when I was bullied, I spoke up to someone. Not necessarily my bully, you need to be able to recognize the people that you can speak to. At times, your manager is the one bullying you, so it becomes really difficult. Except the workplace that you are has like proper systems in place whereby you can reach out to the HR, but probably you're working with a startup without a proper HR system, it could make it harder for you. However, find someone you trust, whether a colleague, I wouldn't advise that though, but maybe someone externally, speak to a mentor, speak to a friend. You need to speak to someone. And let me just issue out a disclaimer that while speaking to someone, don't expect them to fully comprehend what you've gone through, especially if they've never experienced being bullied. They would probably be dismissive, but I hope you find someone who is very supportive. Another thing you could do is file a formal complaint grievance policies should exist in some organizations. I'm not saying for every organizations, but for organizations where there are policies put in place, you can file a proper complaint. Another thing is you need to also be able to keep a diary of what's going on. I know some people do not like to read, do not like to write, but it's like a meditating process for you to journal your experiences. It could be creating a video, it could be writing it down, it could be just make sure you have a record of what you're experiencing. This would go a long way, especially maybe when it escalates to areas that you wouldn't know, like the HR team calling you in for a meeting, and then now you have to really defend yourself. You do not, I repeat, you do not want to be seen as someone making up stories. You do not want to be categorized into, oh, you're just being emotional, or you don't know what you're talking about, and then you do not want people to dismiss you, and then everything becomes terrible, right? And that is why you need to keep a proper journal, a proper login of what's going on if you're going to take it on into a formal complaint. Finally, don't be afraid to walk away. I know it's always like, oh, it's so easy to say, but honestly, considering the damage that being bullied does to you, it chips off your confidence little by little, right? You shouldn't be afraid to walk away. Walk away with intelligence. So what I did in the past when I was being bullied was to observe the situation. Do I have someone to speak to? I spoke to my mentor, my mentor gave me feedback. Do I need to speak to this person? I voiced out my grievances, my manager spoke to me, I spoke to this person. However, their attitude did not change. Rather, it became escalated to the point where it then became like, oh, even those who are loyal to them thought it was to like start more like picking on me and then picking on everything I was doing, and then it became really bad. It was really bad. However, the good thing was that I was able to maintain my mental strength and health all through this process, but I wasn't afraid to walk away. And the good part about walking away is when you're about to walk away, you can be very strategic about it. You could think about how you're feeling first, how far you can take it, because I don't want to give a timeline to how long you can stay, but please consider yourself first. So I'd say in the next 3 months, 6 months, give yourself a specific time range and start applying aggressively to other places. And you can't exactly say what will be good or what will not be good, but please feel free to reach out to prospective colleagues when you see that your interview is advancing and is looking like you're going to get into the new company. Don't shy off in asking the right questions so that you are not moving from one piece of bullying into another system of being bullied. Can the law protect you? Of course the law can protect you once it is linked to harassment, and this is another topic on its own. But for me, I think what I did was just to leave, and I think the whole weight just dropped off my shoulders after I left. And the painful part is that after leaving, you necessarily do not just immediately become a confident person or confident self immediately. It takes time, which is the healing process. So you need to start learning the things you've learned, the things you've taken on, so that you do not now become the toxic person, you do not become the bully somewhere else. And I started to learn how to find my voice again, how to be confident in my knowledge, in my skill, in what I was saying, and with time I started to get better, especially because I was now in a more conducive environment, work environment, where my voice could be heard. Okay, so I think the final thing I would say would be to work environment and people with your management team and managers and colleagues to please create an environment where everyone can thrive. It doesn't even matter whether the person is an intern or a junior member of the team. They should always feel like they belong to the team, and everyone should also be an advocate of ensuring the one is being bullied on the team. There's a culture of silence around bullying, whereby everyone keeps quiet and most likely side with the bully rather than rallying around that person who's being the victim, clearly. And so I'm reaching out today that while we are celebrating International Women's Day 2024 around inclusion, I'm pleading and advocating and I'm seeking that could you please reach out and watch out for yourself and also your colleagues, and if you're in the position of creating a change, can you create an environment that everyone can thrive, that everyone can have healthy conversations, that everyone can come to work and feel fulfilled and empowered? Do you understand that we spend so much hours at work and it's important that we find the workplace conducive? Okay. This is where I'm gonna stop. If you have further questions that you'd like to ask me, please feel free to send me a direct message or just send me an email at victoria@johnson.com or send it to info@johnson.com, anyone that you're more comfortable with. I'm really here and I hope this was really insightful for you. And also don't forget there are certain apps that could help you, Calm and some other mental health apps that you can find therapists and speak to them. Do not die in silence. Alright guys, until next time, and don't forget this is going to be a series, so I'm going to be talking about something else in the next video. So if you've not subscribed to this channel, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching or listening to me on Spotify, you know what to do. Feel free to leave your reviews, feel free to comment, feel free to ask your questions, and I will be there responding to you guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye. Happy Wednesday. Bye. Bye.